Ted, what link did you use to get in?
I clicked on one from like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I was wondering if you used the website link.
I didn't on our website. I didn't know that.
Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. All the way from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. We appreciate it. So we still have a couple minutes before we actually get started with the meeting. And I don't know if you could see, we've got a meeting room out here, and our trusty technician, Tom Ghosh, is helping us out. It will be a couple minutes before we have all the Rotarians upstairs here and in place. We're going to do some
I'm going to probably take care of a couple emails while you're getting everyone together.
Take your time. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure to respect your time. I appreciate it, Doctor. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Yes.
Wes, do you want me to log off and try to come in from the website?
No, you're good. I already had someone else test it and it worked. I just wanted to hear someone else's perspective that I didn't direct to test it.
All right. Yeah, I didn't know about it. Sorry.
No, you're good, my friend. I mean, you know what you're doing, so no reason no reason to worry.
Okay, Mary's pissing me off.
Mary, you're not at Top Golf.
That's just pissing me off, Mary. You could probably adjust if you want to have.
I really am at Top Golf, but you know, why not? I wouldn't be brushing my hair at the beach. I wouldn't care less. I couldn't care less.
Hey, Mary, keep talking.
Keep talking. We're using you for an audio check.
You were cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry. We were trying to get you guys to keep talking for an audio check in the room here.
Hey, Wes.
Hey.
Hey, do you want to make the ACE announcement, ACE 2 today?
I absolutely had that intention, Gene. Yep.
All right, good for
Hey,
you.
Gene.
Hello.
How you doing? It's Jim.
Good.
Oh, that's
How are
right.
you?
Okay. I'm fine, thanks. How you guys doing?
Looking good, Jim.
Thank you.
Mask up. No one's really up here yet. Everyone's still down there enjoying their lunches, it looks like.
Great.
Trying to make their way up here, settle the bill
I
for some
appreciate
drinks, it looks like.
the audio check. I'm doing the buzz today.
Oh, great. Hey, Tom,
And
would
we
you
have a
mind
new-
forwarding
I-
that email that I
Oh, not.
gave
Sorry.
you with the links to Gene?
Sure.
And Gene, just so you know, the meeting is being recorded, as every meeting is now. So if you miss something, just ask me. I post it to YouTube every week after the meeting. So
Okay. No, thanks.
Careful.
Yeah.
And then just so you know, people online, I'm monitoring it, so I'll try to make sure we get you guys in on everything. Mary, you're our. Oops, sorry, we're doing it again. It's hilarious. You got to stop choosing links, Wes, that automatically play stuff.
I know, isn't that shady?
I'm sorry. So Mary, is it Burge? Do you have? Okay, no problem. I can wait.
Get out of my head,
Okay, sorry, I'm here. Go ahead.
No problem. Are you sharing your screen or anything? Or are you just planning on talking?
I have one screen to share at the end of the presentation, so can I go ahead and test that?
Sure. Go ahead.
You better make a bet when you go.
Okay, can you see that?
Not yet, but hold on.
Oh, Jim's doing it.
And
Should be like an Amazon website.
no, it's gray.
Let me stop again. Stop sharing. It says I'm sharing. Let me stop and try
See,
again.
I see that you're sharing. It's just not. It's. You have two screens or something.
Strange. I don't have anything else open. So let me try again. Share screen.
Say hi to the people at home, Mike.
Hey, how's everyone? We have a great speaker today.
Oh, I see what it's.
Hey, Mike. Good to see you.
Hold on. Now I can't hear anything. So hold on a second. It's not working for me.
Okay. Yeah, it says I'm sharing what I should be sharing. I only have one screen open besides you
Good man. Good man.
guys.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing,
What
bud?
I'm seeing is a gray.
All right, let me
Sit where you
try
are.
opening a
Sit by the
different
way.
screen.
Okay.
Let me try finding something else to share here, the way I can share it. That. Let's close some things here. All right, let's try this. Screen.
Say hi to the people at home, Glenn.
Hello, everyone.
Gene waves back. 12:35. I think it's about time there. What do you say?
Let me try again, Tom, here.
I saw that it wasn't coming through. I saw that it looked pixelated or something like, or it looked like I couldn't see anything.
All right, Tom, I'm gonna try again.
Okay.
And if we wanted to just give it a second, it looked like what
How
happens
does that look?
before it loads.
Anything, Tom?
If you see Wes's screen, that's what we see. Is gray.
Oh, yeah, I see that. That's strange. I don't know why it's
So,
not.
Mary, could you try, rather than sharing just that application, could you try sharing your entire screen?
Yeah,
It gives you the
it
option
says
of
I'm
sharing just
sharing-
like
it
just,
says-
just Excel or just PowerPoint
It's
versus sharing.
It's a website. It's Amazon that I'm going to. It's just an open
Okay.
page that I have.
Right. But when you go back to the sharing option itself, you're sharing with us like that, your web browser. I think maybe it could be different if you share your entire screen as opposed to just the application. But
Okay.
I'll let Tom take care of this. It's all right. We got a while to figure it out.
Optimize images, optimize for motion. It just says share, and then
Does it say,
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could
Does it
please
say
take your
Sonny and
seats
share?
before I tell you to stand up again.
how about now?
Everyone have a place to be. Everyone got really quiet after I did that. That is uncommon.
Does that work?
You can see the starting of the meeting. Yes.
You're good. That's what you would want to share this. So we can see it now.
Everyone will take their seats now, please. If you could rise, I'm going to call this meeting to order at
I don't know how to get out of this now,
12:35.
though.
Today is Friday, August 28th. Welcome to the 8th meeting of this Rotary year. My name is Wes Crockett. I'm the president of the finest Rotary Club in District 6440, the Friendly Club. Our speaker today, we have a fabulous speaker, Dr. Mary Burns, joining us from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So we have a remote visitor today. We're going to start the way that we always do. Bill Kelly, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
flag of the United States of America, to the republic for stands under the indivisible, with liberty and justice for some of the people who live here.
Wonderful. Vince Samasarda, would you mind please leading us in the four-way pact?
Four-way pact. First, I'll have the courage to tell the whole truth. I'll be kind and right the right tongue. I'll be fair and not seem selfish.
I'll have an open heart and an open mind.
Open mind.
Thank you. Please be seated. And I'm looking around to see if we have any guests joining us in person today. I know we have at least one online, and I think we may be able to see her up there. Our guest, Dr. Mary Bird. Please welcome our guest, everyone. Thanks for being with us, Doctor. We appreciate it. So, as we usually do, I'm going to ask Tom if we can move over to start with the uplifting news of the week. And this week, we have a couple of really good ones, and I want to thank our Rotarians, especially Mike Turgeon, who sent me this one this week. And if you guys get email from Rotary, you might have heard about one of these good ones here. And I don't need, Tom, if you don't mind putting it up, but I can talk about this one without it. The Rotary Club is now certifying that the continent of Africa is polio free. So congratulations to Rotary, and congratulations to us on that. Well done. Second good news story of the week, Abbott Labs just received authorization from the FDA for a $5 15-minute COVID test. And if you could go to their website really quick, do you mind the Abbott one on the right? So one of the things that I thought was great, just in the top right here, Abbott is going to offer a no-charge complimentary app which allows people to get their test results right on their phones when it happens. And they said that the test itself requires no actual manufacturer, nothing to like, what do they call it? Reagents. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
And they're hiring 2,000 people to produce these.
They're hiring what?
2,000 people. There are going to be 2,000 jobs available to manufacture these.
They said the company is going to ship tens of millions of these things in September, ramping up to 50 million tests a month in the beginning of October. So new good COVID tests are coming our way, so that feels really good. And the last one, Tom, if you don't mind, we know there's a lot of wildfires in California going on. This guy went out and saved over 1,000 animals that people left behind during the wildfires. And one of my favorite lines from this story was, stop right there. Can you go up a little bit? He said, oh, darn it, where was it? Scroll down, Tom. He said, just in the last 3 days, we have to go rescue 5 emus, 3 llamas, 1 alpaca, 6 goats, 2 pigs, 2 mini donkeys, 2 mini horses, and 5 peacocks. And that's just in one place. This guy's going out and doing good. So big up to them and nice job. So if that makes you happy, my question is, do you have happy dollars that you'd like to give to the club today? And I'm going to start with Terry Part. Go ahead, Terry.
I have a beautiful garden in front of my house, but the critters have been eating them. So in May, I put out a live trap. And so far this year, I caught 1 squirrel, 2 squirrels, 1 rabbit, 41 chipmunks, a ground wren, and yesterday I caught my first skunk.
Man, what'd you do with all those?
Well, they're live traps, so I take them by the Marriott north of the tollway. I let them go there.
Gail said that's by my house.
And so they told us on the internet how to take care of the skunk, and I did what they said, and I released it, and it went out back into the forest. So,
Good. No one got sprayed.
no.
Go ahead, Gail.
I have a couple happy dollars because I'm going to take that, when I find that skunk, I'm going to put it in a live trap and I'm going to take it over and release it in the forest.
That's what I'm talking about.
I have a couple other happy dollars.
Go ahead, Gail.
I have a couple happy dollars for Holly and the party hosting the Rotary picnic that we had last weekend. It was a great, it was awesome. The house is lovely and it's the perfect party house. And I also have a happy dollars for that good news story you talked about Africa being polio free. And it was on national TV, and there's a doctor, Dr. Jen Aston, who commented on it. And she mentioned Rotary. She said, because Africa is polio free, it is polio free because of Rotary. And so I was so proud that, on national TV, and she mentioned Rotary, and it was a very cool.
That's great. I like hearing that. Can you mute your computer? Use the mute button on your computer itself. Go ahead, Bill.
I'm happy to reinstate ran out of Rotarian. The guy I'm sitting next to could play with the cell phone for 10 minutes.
Oh, what's been going on, Jeff? Games, some stocks.
I was just telling my administrator to make sure we paid our bill to our attorney.
Good.
Yes, I could.
All right. Fine Master, take note, please. Fine Master, take note. Tom, do you see anyone online who's got any happy dollars for us? I also see Mary Jo here as well. We got Pat and Jean and Rachel. So let's go ahead.
All right. I just want to once again congratulate this club. I received notification that the Rotary Club of Schaumburg Hoffman Estate has successfully achieved the RI Presidential Citation with distinction platinum level. That is the highest club award from RI. So congratulations, guys.
I'll add to that it looks like only 13 clubs in our district received that, and I believe only 1 or 2 others received it at our level of platinum. So as usual, this club leads the way.
Jean, I believe, is next.
Go ahead, Jean.
That's wonderful news. I am delighted to say that Vicki and I have recently decided that we are not going to permanently move to Florida, but rather we're going to join the annual migration south in the winter and become snowbirds. So I'm delighted to be able to be with you all in person during the summers. So
how
I'm
lucky
very happy.
this club is. Incredible. That's a great bit of news. I'd like to thank Alan Gabe for arranging that. Thank you, Alan.
Yeah, I hope Alan heard that. Saved me $2.
No, I didn't.
That's Mary Sproul on the beach, by the way. Yeah, that's Mary. I also saw Rachel had her hand up. Go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, I wanted to share with you guys because we were grant recipients for the activity boxes for NWSRA. And we had a few parents let us know how they felt about them. So I wanted to share with you. One said, we picked up ours this morning. Sarah went with the sports pack, of course. She loved it. Thanks so much for including her. She has been hanging out at home since March at her doctor's advice due to her asthma. The activity box was perfect and definitely gave her a lot of things to do. So that's just from one parent. And this other one parent said, NWSRA is the gold standard for creativity, fun, and providing great programs for participants during these times. NWSRA is doing amazing with the work they're providing. Will has enjoyed all the virtual programs and the activity boxes that he's received. While others are trembling, NWSRA has risen, and I do think
But then it went away again.
it's for you guys for supporting us during these times, definitely. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I got $20 coming your way.
Thanks, Rachel. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Looking around, does anybody else have any other happy dollars to give? Tom, is that everyone there? Wonderful. Oh, yeah, Mary, excuse me. Oh, God. Mary, all right.
That's okay. My happy dollars, I have 10 happy dollars for our satellite club. Recently, one of the members of the satellite club that assists the satellite club with artwork and he's retired art teacher from Schaumburg School District, has received the award from CBS on somebody, or NBC, somebody you should know. He's going to be on the news for somebody you should know.
Nice.
So
Congratulations.
highlight our satellite Rotary Club.
Hey. Nice job to the satellite club. Wonderful. Going to move on, seeing no extra happy dollars abound, to club business and announcements. And one of the club business that I had was to talk about what Pat did. And thank you, Pat, because it was definitely your news to share and not mine that we got the citation from Rotary International. But that's absolutely wonderful. I only have one bit of club business or announcement. And if anyone else has anything, you can line up or get ready virtually and raise your hand, and Tom Ghosh will call on you. We need a liaison to Blue Star Recyclers. If you guys can recall, a couple of weeks ago, we had a presentation from Blue Star Recyclers, who is a Rotary adjacent organization that uses labor from special needs individuals to disassemble electronics and help electronics recycling. Your community service committee, led by Sarah Billemeyer, has decided to use some of their funds to engage with Blue Star Recyclers so we can put our name on the side of the bus and actually have an event in our own community where we can get rid of our used electronics that we don't need anymore and let a great company and a Rotary linked company take care of it for us. What we need is somebody to be the liaison between our club and that group right now. The question is, does anybody have the spare time, the ability to do that? It is not much of a commitment, and we're doing this twice a year with them. If it's something that you are interested in, and I'm not going to call on names right now because unless somebody is really interested in doing that.
There's a hand.
Bill Landwehr, thank you so much. Bill, I'm going to put you in touch. Thank you, Bill. I'm going to put you in touch with Sarah Billmeyer, and Sarah will reach out to you and tell you what's necessary. Thanks, Bill, for jumping in. We appreciate that.
This is Alan on the phone. I just want to see if we can hear him.
That's Alan. Yeah.
Alan, talk.
Alan, say something.
No, we can't hear him.
He's not muted.
Wes, I do have.
Good. Tom's got an announcement. Excuse me, guys.
I'm hearing myself in an echo. Every week I've been saying the invoices are going out, and this week they will go out. It turns out every week I've said that. I thought it was the last meeting of the month. So that's why I thought they were going out. We're waiting until the end of August, and boy, are you going to be tired and angry that you asked for your invoices. It's going to include all the meetings that you've attended. It's going to include Rotary dues. It's going to include everything. It'll be the biggest invoice you've seen in the last 6 months, but of course you haven't paid anything in the last 6 months. So that'll go out this week. Sorry for the delay, and it'll go smoothly from here on out.
Additionally, in club business announcements, I would love to talk about an email that I got.
Can't hear you.
Don't worry about it. I got it, guys. Sorry about that. All right. Sorry, guys. Looking for the email. My apologies. Gina was just on this today. So I don't need to find the email. We got approved and fully funded for the $160,000 from Rotary International for the ACE2 grant. Congratulations to all of us. Congratulations to Gene, all of the team that is involved in this. We are going to have, and I know that this has been the cause of some confusion lately, the ACE2 and how it interacts with Fishing One. I want everyone to know that in a couple weeks from now, Bob, what date did we set for it? September teens. In a couple of weeks right now, we're going to have a club assembly where the subject of this entire meeting is going to be to discuss and explain for those of us who don't know anything about it, as though we are 5-year-olds, exactly what ACE1 is, ACE2 is, what the fishing well is, how the money that has been set aside for it. We're going to look at the actual money that we have in our foundation's accounts and say what of this money is set aside for it. The idea is that I want everyone to be able to walk out with a better understanding of this. And so we don't have the questions, this person knows this. We're going to get everyone in the room. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to moderate this discussion to the best of my abilities because I know that there are a lot of very strong opinions about this, and I'm asking you to come and bring your opinions and bring what you know about it. So in a couple of weeks, Bob, September 11th will be the date that we're going to talk about that. So in 2 meetings from right now. Any questions about that? And looking for any more club business. And I'm seeing that, oh, Holly's got some. Come on up, Holly.
Well, I'm sure nobody could guess what I'm going to talk about.
Golf tournament.
The golf tournament, yeah. We're right about at 5 weeks left to sell vacation drawing tickets. And of course, this is a really weird year, but we're closing in on about $10,000 we've taken in so far, close. And I'd love to double that. I mean, last year we broke 30,000. So we don't have the festivals this year, but come on, you guys, let's hit the ground running and get some tickets sold. We all know a lot of people that would love to help us help the community, and that's what it's all about. Giving people the opportunity to help us with a $20 donation. And most people say yes. It's just us getting like in the mode to get out there and do it. or as I say, they're 5 for 100 or
Hey,
$20 each.
I know most Rotarians do well with deadlines. What's a deadline to get a Rotarian to turn this in?
Well, the drawing is October 9th. So the morning of I'd say that morning, because we could turn that around and get those cubes in the drum that day.
Don't wait that long, but
Don't wait that long, but we're gonna go to the bitter end, but please guys, let's get it done.
Cool.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So I see that we have Alan Gabe, but I don't know that we truly have Alan Gabe per se, unfortunately. So if it's all right with you, Alan, until we have the connection right, and that hopefully that will be later in the meeting. Mary, is there any chance that you're ready, that you might be able to speak for us?
Sure, I'm ready anytime you are.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Mary Bird. She's going to be speaking to us. She is a psychologist and going to be speaking to us. You know what, Mary, I'm not going to characterize it. I'm going to let you. Go ahead. Thanks so much for being with us, Mary.
All right. Thank you for having me, everyone. I love to attend Rotary as often as possible. My meetings are on Wednesdays, and I typically go to about 5 or 6 other ones through the week to do these little talks. So it's good to be in your neck of the woods. I want you all for the next 20 minutes or so to think of me as your personal psychologist. It's like your free 20 minutes on the couch. So although this talk, I've titled it Staying Sane During COVID-19 and Other Stressful Times, I want you to think about anything that might be stressing you out, anything that's causing you anxiety either now or that maybe has in the recent past, because all of the tips that I'm going to give you today really are good for just about anything. So really thinking this in broad terms. Okay, so when you first arrive to my office and you sit on my couch, I always like to ask my patients, typically, like, how much information do they actually have about their situation, about the problem at hand? Because typically information is power. But in the case of COVID-19, information truly has become the source of anxiety, depression, and stress. So my first tip of the day with regard to COVID-19 is to absolutely limit the amount of information that you allow, and I say allow because it is a choice, the amount of information you allow into your environment regarding COVID-19. I really encourage all of my patients and friends and family to limit it to just 2 times per day. You know, start your day off with something local. Find out what's happening, you know, right in your own neighborhood. I do that so that I can help to keep my patients safe and be well informed. But then there's no reason for me to look at social media related to COVID or the news or sensationalized media throughout the day, because nothing has changed. It's all just repetitive non-information. And the noise is what's causing people a heck of a lot of anxiety. Now, towards the end of my day, I usually do check again. I like to go to a more global resource at that point, something more international, because as a Rotarian, I really believe that I am a citizen of the world. I have Rotary friends everywhere I go. So I do want to know what's happening in other countries and in other states, so that I can, keep in touch with my Rotary friends. But again, nothing in between. And my golden rule for news and negative media information in general is to never, ever allow it into my environment past about 7:30 or 8 at night. And that's because your body really does, and your brain really does need time to decompress from the day. So about 2 hours prior to sleep, it's important to not have anything negative coming into your psyche. It really will affect your sleep and your dream states if you do. So I do not watch any news past 8 p.m. because I'm asleep, trust me, by 9:30 or 10 at night. So no news at night whatsoever. And that's my #1 tip to patients across the board. Now, another tip would be related to your routine. I'm sure since you've all been gotten used to the quarantine, gotten used to social distancing, even working from home. Obviously, a lot of you look like you're working from home. You've kind of found your routine again. I know in the beginning, everybody was in a state of shock. In fact, we've started to look at COVID-19 in various stages. And stage 1 was shock, disbelief, and kind of freeze mode. Nobody knew what to do. So we immediately began doing things that we weren't used to doing. Our routines went out the window. Everyone started binging on Netflix. You saw people baking bread who were, previously carb free. People were, making jokes about going around the house drinking in different parts of the house as if they were bar hopping. Everything just went out the window. But by now, stage 4 of COVID times, we are in the adapt stage. And so we really should have reestablished our sense of routine. And science tells us that routine is a predictor of personal well-being. And just like children, adults really do better when they know what is expected of them. And that's especially true when you are under stress. And in fact, the lack of a routine and expectation can make you feel lethargic and doubtful at the end of your day. So it's very important that you stick to routine on a day-to-day basis. But it's also important, if you're like me, if you're working from a computer now most of the hours during the day, it's crucial that you take breaks from the blue screen, from the computer. And my advice is to do that every 2 hours. Chunk your day into 2 hours, and at the end of each 2 hours, step away from the computer, engage a different part of your brain, and get away from being online. And that means staying off your phone too. So engaging a different part of your brain. You listen to music, you read from a novel. Best thing you can do is to gain 10 to 15 minutes of exercise during that time, even if it's just a nice walk around the block. And again, science tells us that people who take breaks through their day, actually at the end of the day, typically are more productive, get more done, and they actually feel more successful at the end of their day. And again, less lethargic. So doing this and, instead of just powering through, it's really important to how you feel at the end of your day. Now, routine also means taking care of yourself. And I always like to have my goals spelled out for me. Again, knowing what's expected of myself guarantees me, or at least pushes me in the direction of actually achieving my goals. So the first thing I do every day is I use these little note cards as I write down my goals for the day. And I usually have 3 or 4 things on there. I have a nutrition, hydration goal. I typically also write down my exercise goals for the day. I mention hydration because when you are under stress or anxious, your body actually can dehydrate at a much faster rate. So my bare minimum for water intake is 64 ounces per day. Now, a written goal is also a much more attainable goal. People who write their goals down and keep them where they can see them, I always keep mine at my computer, actually will attain their goals at a higher rate than those who are just thinking about them. So write it down. Also write down what maybe your Rotary goal is for the day and what your work goal is for the day. So again, this will help you to stay in routine and know what's expected of yourself and be more successful and feel more just better at the end of your day. Okay, so I want to shift a little bit here and talk a little bit about the neurochemistry of mood. Most of what I do every day as a psychologist is to help people to feel differently, to make changes in themselves, which often relates around mood, anxious moods, depressed moods, things like that. And there are a few neurotransmitters and chemicals in our bodies and brains that are absolutely in charge of how we feel. So the first is serotonin. And serotonin is best produced and released when you are physically active. So again, those breaks that I mentioned, those 10 to 15 minute short breaks, it'd be wonderful if you could do something that engages physical activity, a brisk walk, some yoga stretching, anything that causes the body to move. That will help your brain to produce the neurotransmitter serotonin and to release it into the presynaptic gaps. And serotonin helps us feel good. Now, the second one is one called it's called dopamine. And dopamine is it's really our euphoria, our true happiness chemical. And dopamine is best released by doing 2 different things. So the first one is called gratitude. We all know what that is. And I want you all to take just a second here, and I want you to think about something or someone that you're grateful for. something that you're grateful for. Okay, you should all have it by now. Now, as you contemplate something you're grateful for, your brain will begin to stimulate dopamine production. Now, if you want to increase that stimulation, it's even better if you give dopamine away. In other words, you give it to someone else through gratitude. So I want you all to think about someone you're grateful for. Okay, now after today's meeting, I want you to tell that person either via text, email, or a phone call or in person why you're grateful for them. And you stimulating dopamine in them through giving away gratitude will stimulate more dopamine in yourself as well. When we give dopamine and gratitude away to someone else, it actually makes us feel even better. It's kind of like what happens when we do service. It makes us feel good. That's dopamine production. Now, the other one is called oxytocin. And I like to call oxytocin the hug drug because it is most produced in our systems when we are intimate with someone, when we hug someone, or when we're intimate with someone, if you know what I mean. So the more you can be close to someone in proximity and hug or be intimate with someone, the more oxytocin is released in your system. And that can actually last for days, a burst of oxytocin. So if you can hug someone, I know this COVID thing is really hard for me because I'm a hugger and I miss getting all and giving my Rotary hugs to people. So, but if you can, if there's someone you can hug them and check in on yourself as you do it to see how good that feels. That is oxytocin. Now, the biggest enemy to dopamine in particular is almost like a kryptonite, is actually anxiety. And anxiety best festers when you are in the future, when you are doing what I like to call what if thinking. What if I get COVID? What if I lose my job? What if I don't have enough money to pay the bills? What if someone I know gets it? Whenever we are off into the future and engaged in what if thinking, anxiety begins to fester in our brains. Now, anxiety also loves the past, and that's your would've, could've, should've thinking. Anxiety likes that as well. And the reason why anxiety does so well in the future and the past is because it needs time for you to ruminate. And here's what happens when you begin to ruminate and worry either in the future or the past. You have these two little centers in the back of your brain called the amygdala, and they're in the left and the right hemisphere, little almond-shaped things. And when you begin to ruminate, they light up. And they actually send a message to the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus then turns on your fire alarm. And that's your flight, freeze, or fight, flight, or freeze response. And that's when you begin to feel all that autonomic nervous system response, sweating, butterflies, what we call the nerves. That's anxiety. And there are some ways that we are able to get people to really shut that system down. And today I would like to teach you 2 ways that you can turn off of your amygdalas when you start to find yourself worrying. So the first is with deep breathing techniques. And there are a lot of different ones out there, but I'm going to teach you today the most simplest deep breathing technique. So the first thing you have to know is that you must inhale through your nose. And then you have to hold your breath for a few seconds. And then you exhale through the mouth. So it's inhale through the nose, hold, exhale through the mouth. And this cycle has to actually be very, very slow. Slower than you think. And as you practice this, you'll learn how to pinch off your sinus cavities all by yourself with your throat and your tongue, and you'll be able to pierce your lips so that you can slow the process down. And I'm going to show you a proper deep breath, and someone out there can time me to see how long it takes, okay? So here we go, inhaling through my nose. Okay, holding. And exhale. Okay, and then I check in with myself. There it is. I can feel when it happens. Your body will give a signal that kind of just goes at the end of that cycle. And if anyone was counting, that took about 25, 35 seconds, somewhere in there, approximately.
Exactly.
Oh, all right, exactly. Okay, 30 seconds. And again, I do this every day, so I've gotten, good at sort of slowing everything down. I tell my patients to do typically 2 or 3 cycles in a row. We always do it seated because you can become a little lightheaded on the second or third one. So if you're going to try this at home, definitely do it seated. But practice this. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can bring your anxiety levels down, how quickly you can, like a dimmer switch, turn those amygdalas off. Now, the other way to do this is with a technique that we call bilateral sound therapy. And how this works, I'm going to give you a download for it here at the end of my presentation that you can all just download onto your phones. But here's how it works. You're going to listen to this engineered music or sound, usually nature sounds, through earbuds or a headset, and you close your eyes. And what you'll notice is that you hear the sound in your right ear and then in your left, and then in your right ear and your left. It's not coming at both ears at one time. It's going right and then left. And as that happens, your eyes will actually begin to track the music side to side, following it. And that happens very naturally. You really won't have to force it. And as your eyes and your ears are following this motion, a very special type of brainwave occurs that actually crosses over the top of the 2 hemispheres, crossing that midline section of left and right hemisphere. And as that brainwave begins to dig in, your amygdalas turn off. It's as if the 2 just cannot work together, and the sound always wins. And it takes usually less than 6 minutes. I have clients that can do it within a matter of seconds, but most of the music you'll notice is between 2 and 6 minutes. You cannot overuse it. You cannot underuse it. It's just whatever works for you. There's a variety of different sounds. There are some that sound like water. There are some that sound like some's just music playing. As you get used to it, you'll notice that some of the sounds almost feel like they're patterned. You can almost begin to feel it in your brain. Some feels very much left or right. Some feels arching and slow. Some of it's very fast. So I would definitely ask you to check this out. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen so you can see who my favorite person is. All right, let's see if it works. There we go. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, it's not going to do it. Here we go. Okay. Hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. It should be like a rainbow thing. All right, Alan, I can see you. Do this, Alan, Gabe, if you can see it. Oh, goody. Okay. This is David Grand. David Grand is my favorite resource for bilateral sound. He actually calls it biolateral sound.
Mary, we actually can't see it. All we're seeing is your desktop screen.
Okay, I just don't. I've never used this system, this WebEx thing. So let me just tell you about it. You can write them down. Okay, we've stopped sharing, right? I'm no longer sharing, I hope. So his name is David Grand, G-R-A-N-D. I'm so used to Zoom and I never have a problem, but I've never used this one before, so I apologize. His album is called Brain Spotting. And he calls it biolateral sound, B-I-O. Now, if you don't want to listen to David Grand, you find that it's not your style, then you can just Google bilateral sound. You can find David Grand, though, on iTunes, Spotify, and for free on YouTube. Oh, there he is. That's the dude right there. He's the developer. Yes. Okay. And his album, the one I love, is called Brain Spotting. You can find it on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and just Google David Grand biolateral sound, it'll come up. It looks like a rainbow. And he's just wonderful. Again, he's the resource I use with most of my patients. And they really seem to also agree that his product is just the best. Now, I do have a couple patients who cannot close their eyes because of vertigo. They get dizzy if they do this. So we actually do it with their eyes open, and we use various YouTube videos. Some of the YouTube videos have lights that you can follow with your eyes by keeping your head still and just following with your eyes. There it is. That's the one I use. Okay. Yay, Tom. Thank you. So if you can't do that, or if you prefer not to close your eyes, you can just follow it with your eyeballs on something else. You can even just use your finger if you need to and follow music left to right. So this is wonderful for anxiety, but it is also wonderful for irritability and frustration. So if you're in an angry place or you're frustrated with your boss or your spouse, plug in for 6 to 12 minutes. It's amazing how it can bring all of that down. I'm also using this with depressed patients. Now, one other technique I want to give you for improving dopamine, and we're all going to try it together. So those of you who are online, I want you to lean in towards the camera. Come towards me a little bit closer. That's it. All right. And then for 5 seconds on my count of 3, we are going to mimic for the audience one physical thing that is going to make our dopamine explode. Okay. On my count of 1, 2, 3, do what I do. 1, 2, 3, go. Nice smiles. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay. Great smiles, by the way.
It really looked like it hurt some of them.
It might have. So, smiling. Interesting little science fact. Your brain has no idea whether a smile is faked, forced, or real. It just knows, it feels those muscles going in that familiar position and goes, oh, she's smiling. Let's produce dopamine. And it begins to flood your brain with dopamine. Now, the interesting thing too, what happens when you see someone else yawn? It makes you want to yawn, right? It's contagious. Smiling is also contagious. So once we get rid of these pesky masks, smile at strangers, smile at other people as a scientific experiment, and watch how many people you make smile. Now, not only will you be causing a dopamine explosion within yourself, you're going to be surprisingly increasing dopamine in other people. And I actually do smiling exercises with my patients on the couch, in mirrors. I make them smile at themselves, even though they're depressed and they don't feel like it. We begin the production of dopamine again. It's very important to mood regulation. So if you're feeling low or you're feeling just kind of cruddy in the middle of the day or at some point, just go in the bathroom and stand in the mirror and smile at yourself. It's unbelievable how quickly you can change your own mood. All right, last little tip of the day. It's about choice. And a lot of how we feel and a lot of how we think and a lot of the things that, how we react to life is a choice. And we have no control over this COVID pandemic and quarantines and governments and racial tensions and everything that's happening in our world right now. I mean, it's just bizarre. So what you can choose, though, is how you're going to be different at the end of this, especially COVID. You can choose how you're going to feel, what you will have accomplished during quarantine and lockdown and social distancing. I truly believe that this is life is not on pause, and we should be using this time to better ourselves, to become better Rotarians, better neighbors, better friends and family. And I am seeing that happen, almost like a renaissance of the human spirit. A lot has changed for the better. We are valuing things differently now, like never before. We value touch completely differently, don't we? I mean, you go to the grocery store now and you pick up that apple, and if it had a little blemish on it, you might have put it back. In March, sure. But now, no, you touch it, you take it, right? That apple is yours, no matter how ugly. So, and you think about, who else touched that apple? Who else touched the door? Who else, all these things that we really took for granted before. The human touch when it comes to people. Like I said, I'm a hugger. I can't wait to touch again and hug again. I will value that differently forever. So yes, we're going to be different at the end of this, but how we're different is really up to us. So remember that you do have power. Life is not on hold. The choice is yours. And hopefully with some of these tips, you'll be elevating your mood and feeling wonderful in no time. So, all right, I'm assuming you guys would like to open it up to questions, and I'd be happy to take any.
so much, Doctor. We appreciate it. And we definitely do want to open up to about 3 or 4 minutes of questions if we can. One of them being directed from one of our members who has some inside information and asked me how the Big Swede is doing after his big hike last weekend. Can you tell everyone about that?
I can. So for those of you who don't know, I'm married to the Big Swede, we call him. I met Ivar, my Swedish husband, while I was on a group study exchange team member. He was a Rotarian in Sweden. And about a year later, we fell in love, and we are a Rotary love story. And he recovered from his 32-mile in under 8 hours walk. He was the fastest walker amongst the 187 people who did it. And he recovered in no time. He wasn't even sore the next day. I don't know how, but he had a couple of non-alcoholic beers at the end of the day. And the next morning he said, I feel fine. So whoever asked the question, the Big Swede is awesome.
I don't think I could do in 8 days. I can't imagine 8 hours. That's absolutely incredible. Are there any questions from online that might be easiest first? I thought I saw Gene Schlinkman's hand up. Am I wrong, Gene? Sorry about that. I called you out. You could make something up now. You're on the floor. Anyone in person have any questions for the doctor?
Bill Landwehr does.
Go ahead, Bill.
Where's your office? Did we come in and see you?
Well, sure, if you're in Johnstown. I'm also doing teletherapy. So right now during COVID, the laws that kept us within our state bounds were lifted. So we're actually allowed to see patients across state lines. Personally, my caseload is full, but if you know someone who does need a therapist or would love to just continue this type of a conversation with a therapist, the best way to find a therapist is actually through what's called psychologytoday.com, and find a therapist link. And you just punch in your zip code and it will populate everyone who's working in your area. And everybody has gone to telemedicine. I do about 80% of my therapy online and 20% face-to-face. But I am seeing a lot of people face-to-face.
Could I get your phone number?
You want to get my phone number? I'll give it to everybody. Anybody who wants to consult with me, I'm happy to at least spend a few minutes with you. I can be reached at 814-288-8246.
Thank you.
Sure.
Tom, we'll put that in the chat. We have one question in person from our member, Gary Anderson. Go ahead, Gary.
So in your practice, do you use anything regarding CBT and CBT training for your clientele?
Yes, cognitive behavioral therapy is probably the most used therapeutic technique. And I would say I use cognitive behavioral therapy in every single session at some point in some way. It has sort of integrated really into everything we do. Cognitive behavioral therapy, the premise is this, and I believe it, that everything that we feel starts with a thought. You can't feel anything until you first have a thought. So much of what we're feeling is based on a lot of very quiet, insidious thinking. Sometimes you can't even hear your own thoughts. And it's interesting how you can be trained to catch your thoughts almost in a net and to begin to change them. But it's about changing the way you think, and that can really be incredibly powerful. So absolutely, CBT across the board. I'd say every therapist uses it just about.
Thanks for being here with us, Doctor. Thank you. Now, out of order, we're going to do something a little bit weird and end it with our illustrious fine master this week. Our illustrious, tall, handsome, sage fine master, Mr. Alan Gabe. Alan, please take it away.
Well, Wes, I don't know if everybody can hear me. I know the people online saw me. I was wondering who you were talking about the tall, good looking. Mary, great talk. We have some friends from Vimmerby, Sweden. I was wondering if your husband was from that area.
He is from Linköping and Lund.
Yeah, okay, good. So it's interesting how people can put ideas in your mind, because when Mary said something about being hydrated, Gene, Steve Lamp, and I all reached for my water bottle, and they went to their cups to drink. So I thought that was very interesting. So we're going to go start with finding. And I'm going to start out with the holiday drawing. And I have to tell you, I'm shocked. Seriously, I've been in the club for a number of years, and I can't recall how shocked I am about the lack of response. There are 47 people who, as of yesterday, did not sell any tickets and turn them in for the holiday drawing. So amongst them, which even is worser, is we have officers and directors who have not turned in any sold tickets, and we have past presidents. So here's the find today. If you are an officer or a director, and I have your names, and if you want, I'll read them off, but I don't want to embarrass anybody just yet. If you're an officer and a director, not turned in a sold ticket for the vacation drawing, you will pay $5. If you are past president and you have not turned in a sold ticket, you will pay $4. And if you are make that $3, because I know a lot of the past presidents are retired. And if you are a member and have not turned in a sold ticket, that'll be $2. Remember, we have a list of everybody who pays the fines, and we have a list of everybody who's not turned them in. So this week's question, as I said when I sent out the club runner, was from Mary Sproul, and I thought it was a great question. I don't usually share what my answer is, but Samantha gave an answer, and I had to give mine based on hers. Her answer was Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and she said he was going to be playing, Mr. Smith would be Brad Pitt. Need she say more? So that led me to think about who mine would be. The movie would be Mask of Zorro, and I would be Antonio Banderas playing with Catherine Zeta-Jones. Need I say more? My next favorite was Jean. Jean, who is not being a turncoat and is staying here, thank you. She wants to be Bond, James Bond, in any James Bond movie. And this is what she says. He always gets the bad guys and the girl, plus action, stunts, explosions, gadgets, fast cars, chases, and romance from exotic places around the world. Good for you, Jean. I'm not going to fine you for that, but I will fine you for eating continuously throughout the meeting today. So why don't you pay $2? Wes, the question was, who do you want to be in a movie and why? You didn't give me an actor's name. You said the kid from Almost Famous, the main character. Well, if he was so great, what's his name? So pay $2 for that.
That's fair. Some
People gave an answer that, if you think about it, is perfect. The first one who responded this time was Tom Ghosh. He wants to be Jake Blues from the Blues Brothers. Is that perfect or right? Right, Tom? Jeff Miller kind of surprised me because he wants to be Jason Bourne, the Bourne Identity. And I was surprised that he didn't fish Jason Bourne, but Jeff said that. But I'm going to find Jeff and Bill Kelly for their routine back and forth. So Jeff allowed Bill Kelly to advertise. Bill, typically it's $5 for advertising. I'll give you a break because you came in through the side door. One that really confused me was George Panopoulos, who wants to be Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption. I just don't get that, George. He even tried to explain it to me, and I still didn't get it. So, George, why don't you contribute $2? Mary Jo came up with a real interesting one. She wanted to be Medea in the Diary of a Mad Black Woman. She says, I love the fact that she speaks her mind and takes no hostages. She enables other women to stand up and be strong. On top of that, she's hilarious. Great answer, Mary Jo. Garlic had a few baseball ones. Glenn Garlic wanted to be Billy Chapel for the love of the game. Jack Lucas went to an all-time great. He wanted to be Humphrey Bogart, an African Queen. Bill Landwehr. Bill, the question is, who is the actor and what movie? Bill, of course, in his own inimitable way, said John Wayne. He did lots of movies, Bill. So why don't you contribute a couple bucks?
Okay.
Bob Fleischer. I thought this was kind of interesting, maybe a little stretch. Bob Fleischer. Now we all know how Bob is, how satirically he is. He wants to be James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, which is a classic movie. I don't really see you as that, but he also said, or Cagney and Lacey, guy walking down Fifth Avenue with red tie. So Bob, for advertising that you were in that TV show, again, that'll be $2. Jody. Now this one I thought was kind of perfect. She wants to be Julia Roberts' character Vivian in Pretty Woman. So Jody, come on, quit showing off. That'll be $2. Jim Fabrini's not at the meeting, I know, but he wants to be Walter Mitty in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Or he wants to be a porno star in a heterosexual porno movie for obvious reason. So since he's not there, anybody who is related to Jim pays a $2 fine. This is another one that got me, was Gary Anderson. He wants to be Russell Crowe's character in The Gladiator for obvious reasons. Now, Gary's my accountant, I love him, so I went back to him, I said, Gary, what are the obvious reasons? And he goes, well, look at our physiques. I did, and it'll cost you $2. Eileen, this one I thought was perfect for Eileen. She wanted to be Mary Poppins in the movie Mary Poppins. Daryl Moon wants to be one of the boys from Dover from the movie MASH. Daryl, you're supposed to pick one, so you can't say one of the boys from Dover, so that'll be $2. Another base movie. Is a baseball manager of the baseball team with I thought it was classic. I was really glad to see Christy Ritchie coming back and being involved. So Christy, being that we missed you so much over these past weeks, I'm going to have to fine you $2. But her movie was Charade, and she wants to, of course, be Audrey Hepburn playing Reggie Lampert to Cary Grant's Peter Joshua. A little bit of trivia for those who don't know. I'm sure Bruce Stopke knows this. Prior to being a movie star, Cary Grant was in the circus and was a tumbler and did all sorts of those things. So he did a lot of his own stunts. Steve Lamp, you almost were the last one, but someone saved you. But since you're smoking a cigar in a meeting and there's no smoking allowed at Chandler's and you're making all the other cigar smokers jealous, that's going to cost you $2. But he said he will, hard one to think about. One that I will go with is a Mountain Man with Robert Redford. I would take the lead in being the Mountain Man with the continuous changes during this pandemic. I can't think of where and how I want to live. Simple light though. And Rachel, even though I loved your answer, you were the last one to respond. So that'll be $3. She wants to be Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality. That's great. But then she goes to go undercover to take someone down, which I thought was a great answer. Now, Bob Fleischer, I understand that your phone went off. Oh, no, that'll be $5. Tom and Brian Berg, I understand you're both wearing Hawaiian shirts. Are you two in some kind of aloha fraternity that we don't know about? So since you two obviously had a memo you didn't share with anybody, that'll be $2 each. If you were late to the meeting, of course, it's $2. If you're not wearing Rotary attire, of course, that'll be $2. I don't know if anybody at the meeting is wearing what I am. I had to wear this today because immediately after this, I have to go to court. So I'm pulling this off. I have a tie on, as you can see underneath, and I'm wearing a suit, but I did want to wear Rotary attire. If you are wearing this jersey, You paid no fines today. Again, no pin. If you did not respond to this week's question, that will be $2. If you did not go to Ollie's last week, you missed a great event. That'll be $2. If you did not reach out to a Rotarian, that'll be $2. And Mary, I don't normally find guests, right, guys? But you're having too much fun. And for those of you who can't see her on the screen, all she's been doing throughout Fun and Frolic is laughing a lot. So why don't you, I'm not going to fine you, but if you find it in your heart to make a contribution to our club, we would be more than happy to take $5 from you. Terry Park, during the meeting, during lunch, he said that he had trouble with his eyes, and up until then, he felt he was infallible. And someone said, "You mean uncredible?" He says, "No, I was only uncredible when I was in the office and the state representative." That's really scary, Terry, because you're one of the few people in politics I would have trusted. So because of that and all the animals you caught, that'll be $2. Terry didn't tell anybody that part of the animals he taught, Joanne, and they barbecued them for dinner. If you have, there's another, one of my last ones, Brian Berg wanted to be Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. And Brian, I was very disappointed you weren't the first one to respond this week. So, hey, what the heck? That'll be $2. If you have not paid $2, excuse me, if you have not paid a fine, please do so, $2, so everybody can share in our happiness. And finally, everybody stay safe and healthy. And I'm looking forward to next week when we can share another great question. If you have a suggestion, please send it to me. Mary Sproul, again, thank you very much. I thought that was a great, great question. And I love Mary's background and what she was wearing. She looks like she's just too happy and comfortable. Take care, everybody. It's all yours, Wes.
Alan Gabe, everyone. And Alan, I didn't know if we were going to get you or not. Just so you know, I put together my own fine master list, and just in case I had to be a backup, keeping it just in case we need it again. Everyone, rise if you don't mind, please. Yeah. After I adjourn.
Wait. One question. Who's doing the buzz?
Gene Schlinkman.
Gene, I'm going to send you the list of the answers if you want to publish them.
Excellent. Who are we going to pick on today? George P., if you don't mind, can you please lead us in the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do?
The truth. Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. This week, please let your action serve as a reminder that Rotary opens opportunities. Thank you. And for those of you who are still with us, I have an update on Bonnie that I got from Jim this past week. LA. And of course, it just doesn't show up when I'm looking at this. Okay, here we go. This is Wednesday from Jim. Even though Bonnie is still experiencing a lot of pain, the doctors think it's time to transfer her to the Marion Joy Rehab Center in Wheaton. The hospital therapists have had her up on a hop a few times each day for short walks. She moves slowly and tires quickly, but there is improvement. The rehab center is better equipped for her needs, so we're hoping for good things to happen there. Thanks again, Jim. Yeah, that she's up again. Yeah, that she's up again. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys. Yeah.
You said that it's